Hey friends, I want to share with you some of my favorite small group topics for 2021. And these are some books that I've read through, some books that I've been a part of leading, other books and content that we have had small groups lead at our church. And we know that there's just been great takeaways and outcomes from the people who have gone through the content and grown spiritually from it. The first book that I want to introduce to you guys is called Not a Fan by Kyle Idleman. This book is just a great one in your church setting, and he is going to basically confront people who play church, people who just attend church. In every church setting, listen, we all have people in our churches that don't really understand what the faith is all about. And we've all probably been there in our own lives anyway, where we've been tempted to play church. And so he just really goes into what does it mean to follow Jesus? Are we a fan or are we a follower? And what does it really mean to believe in him? And he really defines all of that so well in a great way that you're going to find fun, encouraging, challenging. So I want you to encourage doing this book with your friends, with your community, in your church setting. The next book that I really love, and this is one of the first books that had a big impact on my life spiritually a long time ago, was just Crazy Love by Francis Chan. And this is a great starter book. Like, people just gave their lives to Jesus. And now you're learning more about who God is and what it means to follow him and love him. Absolutely great book. Another book, a level deeper, that I love for groups is called Multiply. And that really goes into what does it mean to be a follower of Christ? What does it mean to make disciples living on mission? Then what does it mean to actually get into the Bible? What is the Bible? What is it for? It goes into Old Testament, New Testament. It's a great equipping book. It's called Multiply by Francis Chan, and that's a great one to check out as well. Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And they, of course, have the whole, curriculum content online that you can do. This is the book. But we love doing Total Money Makeover at our church. My wife and I, we're huge Dave Ramsey fans. We are gazelles. We have followed the baby steps. We're huge advocates. This is my go-to book. If you get married at our church, you can bet you'll probably get this book. But listen, I love it. And people go through this course all the time as a small group during semesters at our church. And every single time, people find freedom. And it's so encouraging. It's so exciting. It's a must-do at your church because, listen, there are people who are captive to their finances, held back by their finances, and they are stuck not being able to be generous both financially but also in time because of that. And so when we teach people how to handle money God's way, it frees them up to do mission for God. One of the groups that I've been a part of leading with my friend is a men's group on Friday mornings for probably over 2 years now. And we've just gone through the Oswald Chambers Devo, my utmost for his highest. And Oswald and I call him Ozzy sometimes, we differ, we disagree at times. And there's been times as a group where, we hang out. This is what we do. We hang out, we drink coffee, we get breakfast back when we were meeting at a coffee house. And then after about 30 minutes, right at 6:30, we would actually take 5 minutes, read it, and then we talk about takeaways. We talk about where we agree, where we disagree. We talk about questions, and then we always try to lean it back into application. And it's just created such great conversation where we've been able to grow with one another, and it's led into really deep moments where we've been able to encourage men and challenge men and see growth happen spiritually in our own lives. And so I'm a huge fan. Another great devotional that my wife and I were doing right now, and you could again do that, is called the Live Dead Joy book. It's by Dick Brodgen, and he's a missionary, and it's just great devotionals. It's cover to cover through the Bible, 365 devotionals, and so you could also do that as well. I love that style of group. It's just, you hang out, grab coffee, food, whatever you're going to do, take 5 minutes and read, and then it's just really heavy, great, deep discussion time where we get to learn more about each other and encourage one another in our walk in pursuit of Jesus. The Bible, you guys. Of course, this is a book that we can do as a small group. Sometimes all these other books, they're easier because it's just one specific focus on the Bible, and you have an author, a pastor, who's walking you through that topic, and they're answering the questions for you. But a Bible reading group is a great way to go. And what we can do is do a Bible reading plan, or just cover to cover, from beginning to end of the year. And then once a week, we're going to meet up with our group, with our friends, and we're going to talk about the takeaways. Here are the stories that we read over the last week. And then each person's going to talk about what stood out to them, what questions they might have. We might share our thoughts on those questions. Listen, if you do this, you're going to get questions that you don't have answers to, and that's okay. I love it. Just take them up. Take them to your go-to person at your church that is there to support you as you lead a small group. And this is a great way to get people in the Bible. And again, it's more discussion oriented. So you're going to meet up, you're going to connect with one another, you're going to talk about the takeaways, the recap, do discussion, lead it into application, and then pray for one another, encourage one another, and go on and do it again the following week. The final type of topic that I would want you to consider for 2021 is one that I find to be undervalued in a lot of settings. It almost just sounds too simple, or it sounds like, oh man, that doesn't even count. But it's just called a sermon discussion. And what that is listen, like we take the message that was preached on Sunday by your pastor with people in your church, and you take it deeper. You talk about the takeaways. You talk about the application. It is a sermon discussion, and that's really important to consider because you should be doing less teaching, more discussing. If it's done in a really great way, you're going to hang out with friends, catch up, meet up, then you're going to go into it, and you as the leader, you're just going to highlight again the main takeaways, the main points of the message, and you'll do one at a time. And so with each one that you bring up from the message, you're going to probably talk yourself about what your takeaway was, how you're trying to apply that, what questions maybe that brought up for you, and then you're going to invite others to do the same, and then you go through each point like that. And again, the heart behind it is not to reteach it. The heart is just to talk about what was preached, do a recap in a really simple way, and to get better discussion, better depth of what was already taught on, because there's already so much there. We can just mine it out a little bit further and take it even deeper in our lives. So those are my favorite topics for you to consider in 2021 as you guys do groups in person or in line. I'd love to hear from you. What are topics that you love? What are topics that are working really well for your church? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions about the ones that I shared, I would love to hear your questions too. And again, you guys, I'm going to be sharing more videos that are going to help you run after Jesus, pursue him, and make him known and make disciples right there where you're at in your community and in your church. So subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this one, and ones that are going to equip you as a leader in your church environment.